Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Marta. Today is the 16th of October, and this time I'm bringing you some more news from Ubisoft as they have slashed its sales expectations due to the delay of both The Crew and Watch Dogs, which are two of its next generation titles. Now, the publisher did initially expect to make 1.94 billion by the end of the fiscal year in April 2014, but now that believes that figure will arrive at roughly $1.38 billion. This means that both delays have helped pull down revenue expectations by $560 million. And investors unfortunately felt further dismay when Ubisoft actually issued a warning that it no longer believes it will be profitable this financial year. It previously expected a 12-month profit of about $236 million, and then on Tuesday told investors that it will actually lose about $88 million. Now, when talking on the slashed expectations and of course the delay of Watch Dogs and The Crew, Chief Executive Yves Guillemot said the publisher did not take decisions lightly and suggested that they wanted to secure the long-term viability of the new franchises by ensuring they debuted at a high quality. And he said, quote, "Our long-term goal is to win in the next generation." Now, of course, Ubisoft CFO Alain Martinez did touch on this as well, and he said that Watch Dogs has the potential to exceed sales of Assassin's Creed 1, which sold about 6.2 million units, and he does not believe that the decision to delay will affect this. But Guillemot also added, quote, "The tough decisions we are taking today to fully realise the major potential of our new creations have an impact on our short-term performance. We are convinced that longer term they will prove to be the right decisions both in terms of satisfaction for our fans and in terms of value creation for our shareholders." Fueled by strong momentum for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, calendar 2014 will see the return to growth to the console market. Now, however, that is not the only thing that has affected their revised expectations for this fiscal year. They have also released information on Splinter Cell Blacklist and Rayman Legends, as they have not performed as well as Ubisoft predicted, and this is according to comments made during an investors' conference call earlier today. Now, of course, the delay of Watch Dogs and The Crew, as I previously said, have obviously heavily affected their sales forecast for the fiscal year. Factors such as exchange rate fluctuation and performance of these key titles have also had an effect. Now, when pressed on the topic of the amended forecast, an Ubisoft representative said that both Splinter Cell and Rayman Legends have both performed below expectations. And he said, quote, "As we have said, we have experienced lower sales than we anticipated when we gave our targets. Already released games such as Splinter Cell, Rayman, and others. Now, these results are actually attributed to customer reluctance to invest in new titles leading up to the next generation of consoles and, of course, the next generation of games, although to the extent to which the titles have underperformed was not specified." Now, Watch Dogs' delay was, of course, the largest factor in these reduced sales expectations, but it would be foolish to say that the underperformance of Splinter Cell and Rayman did not have an effect. And the executive said, quote, "Watch Dogs was trending towards the higher part of our guidance because the pre-orders were very good. We had more units than we had on the original plan." Now, CEO Yves Guillemot did add that the publisher hopes Watch Dogs will join its other major blockbuster series. And he said, quote, "In a world of mega blockbusters, we have come to the conclusion that the team needed more time to realise the game's potential. We consider it to be a long-term pillar of our future performance alongside the likes of Assassin's Creed and Far Cry." So there you have it. Ubisoft is definitely feeling the pain after having to delay Watch Dogs and The Crew. Now, the only thing to keep in mind here is we do not have the specific sales figures for either of these games, so it's very possible that Ubisoft could be pulling a Square Enix and calling the sales underperforming when they've actually sold an obscene amount, just not the amount that they hoped for, as we've happened with Square Enix and Tomb Raider not too long ago. I do think the next generation has had a huge hand in this. I think many people are probably waiting to see if Splinter Cell Blacklist will be getting a next generation release, either on PS4, Xbox One, or both. And the same could even be said for Rayman Legends, but I think the main thing that probably affected Rayman Legends was that it was of course originally supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, and then after quite some time it was released as a multi-platform. And what could have happened is that anyone who was interested in the game kind of lost interest waiting to hear whether or not the game would be coming out on their platform. That of course die-hard Rayman fans or die-hard Ubisoft fans or mix of the two, whatever, would buy it regardless, but it may make someone who was just kind of like, yeah, this kind of looks cool, I'm going to wait and see if it comes out on X console, might have just lost patience and just moved on to something else. I think that probably had something to do with it as well. But I think it's a bit too soon to write Rayman off and Splinter Cell off, as I think, but Rayman especially will be on many a Christmas list, and same for Far Cry 3 as well. And of course, the Watch Dogs is going to hurt Ubisoft a lot. Now, I do wonder if this is going to affect their plans to invest a ridiculous amounts of money. I can't quite recall the exact amount, but in new offices, new jobs, and so on. It may affect those plans because, of course, they're expecting to make a profit, and now they're not. So I would imagine they're going to hold off on those plans for a while, and yeah, not really good for Ubisoft at all. Now, in case you're wondering about the crew, it has also been delayed until Q3 of 2014. It was of course originally supposed to be released early 2014, so it's been pushed forward a few months as well, and that's on all platforms. That would be PS4, Xbox One and the PC. So hopefully this won't hurt Ubisoft too much. They're one of my favourite developers slash publishers, even with some of the missteps they've made over the last few years. But still, they are still one of my favourite developers. They consistently come out with very, very good games. They have made some not as good ones, of course, as anyone does, but their overall standard of games is very high. They're one of my favourite developers, and I really hope that this doesn't affect them too much. I think that it probably will, but in the long run it may pay off to actually wait and for them to release the better polished, better finished product. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.